No, do what you, okay, I've forgotten. Can anybody read it? Do what makes you more happy. Just so now we can get on with the talk. My talk today is entitled, Name Your Good. And I love synchronicities because I had told several people that the next time I got to speak here, I was going to talk on this subject. And what better day than the end of the year, the beginning of a new year, starting tomorrow. Now, you may be one that makes resolutions and keep them. You might be one who makes resolution and doesn't keep them too often. And you might be one that never makes resolutions. I'm sort of the second class there. But I don't make it as much anymore because name your good is something that we can do all the time. Not only at the beginning of a new year, but every day, every moment. Now, name your good, for me, comes from the teaching of Emma Curtis Hopkins. And you find that I mention her quite a bit. She's probably one of my favorite teachers. And this is her first lesson. She has 12 lessons that in all her books, she goes for 12 lessons. And this is in the first lesson. And I think it's so important to name our good. Now, we may say, well, that's easy. I know what I want. But when you really stop to think about it, sometimes it's not what you're thinking in the moment. Sometimes it takes some thought to it. And we can tell this by if you've ever listened to a group of people, including myself in it too, how often do we talk about our good? Most of the conversations, I wouldn't say most, but I'd say 50%, are about our illnesses, not enough money, we can't do this. The first time I really realized that this is like normal conversation, I was at a silent retreat up at Casa La Maria in Santa Barbara, and I was in a silent day retreat, and we even go down to the dining hall and sit as a group in silence. So when you're sitting in that silence, you can hear the conversations going around at other tables. You can try that yourself and see what people are talking about. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins is one of Ernest Holmes' teachers. You know, the great gift that he is the founder, of course, of this teaching called Science of Mind. And the gift that he gave us was that he brought all the teachings together in a way that could be understood at that time and even into today's world. He was able to translate the teachings from the Eastern, the Western, different religions, the Bible, Jesus. And he also had 3 teachers at that time. One was Thomas Trower, who was an English judge in India. The other one was Ralph Waldo Emerson from the Transcendentalists. And the third was Emma Curtis Hopkins. She was considered a mystic. She was born in 1853 and died in 1925, just to sort of give you her era. And Ernest Holmes started taking lessons from her. And from what I've read, he would come into her house wherever she held her lessons. She'd come and sit in front of him. She'd talk. Then she'd get up and leave the room, and he was free to go. Now, Ernest Holmes was a conversationalist. He loved to talk about philosophy and religion, so this was really unusual to him. But as I've mentioned before, Emma Curtis Hopkins is an absolutist. This means, I don't know if that was the way people taught at that time, but her belief is right on. There is only God. There is nothing else. What we perceive as what she tells us calls evil only because that's what it was called in her day and age, which means anything other than the oneness with God. It's an illusion. If we turn our face away from it, it doesn't exist. Absolutely. There is only one. So in this first chapter, she says, name your good. Name your good. And she says it as almost like as a commandment. I have some people here that I gather and we study her. And it's almost like a commandment. Name your good. And she says it this way, that we are moved, pushed, and pulled by our Creator. And she uses good in place of God. So she says, as we're naming our good, we are being pushed, pulled, and moved toward our Creator, to that which created us. So naming your good is the highest idea of good that you know in any moment. Now, she even gives an example of a thief in the night stealing something. And in that moment, he is reaching for his good. Now, when I first took this class, or taught this class, and it isn't a class that you teach, it's more a class, and I hope to do it again this year. It's a class of doing the spiritual practices of Emma Curtis Hopkins. But every time I've taken the class, every person in the class, including myself, has made big changes in their lives. Anyway, back to naming your good. And this is what she says. All that you are, all that you do and say is determined by the good you seek. And since the good that you and I aim for governs everything we do, the good we are seeking must be our Creator, our God. So what is our good? Well, I happened to run across a journal and I don't keep journals and I never read them. I'm not a journalist. But I ran across it as I was downsizing. I'm always trying to downsize. And it was from my first class that I took regarding Emma Curtis Hopkins. And so I had listed my good at that time. Now, it wasn't all the beautiful ideas we have of God right now. It was what I really wanted as my good at that time. There was a place of my own. And at that time, I was living with my children. And, you know, it's hard sometimes to leave a place and get rent a new place with deposits and all that. And I couldn't even see how I could do it. It was nothing wrong with living with my kids, but it was just that I wanted a place of my own. So today, I have a place that I love that's my own. It may not be to someone else, but it is to me. Another good I saw in that listing was to take care of a poodle. As most of you know, my Cinderella is my poodle that I have now. I had put down companions, loving relationship with my kids and my grandkids, and I have that now. The one that I had completely forgot about was putting down that I wanted to be an assistant minister. Now, I was a staff minister. I had been a senior minister at 2 churches before that, in which I had sort of given up. I didn't necessarily want to be a senior minister, but I was a staff minister at two churches at that time, and I was fine with that. And then Reverend Joyce left here, and Dr. Harry and her asked me, and the board approved if I would come. And I took over her title, which was associate minister, which was fine to me because, as you know, many of us here aren't really hooked on the title. So I was fine with that. I didn't think of anything more of it. And then one day, Cliff and I were looking, we were thinking we better go into the headquarters description of jobs. And we felt that my job description was more of the assistant minister. I mean, it just amazed me that all these things I had listed in my first class. So naming your good is so important. Of course, now that I've evolved a little bit, I hope I have matured a little bit in my spirituality, I've started naming my good, the qualities of God. Especially I take the 3 top ones that we have listed over right here: love, peace, and joy. And I've been naming that good as we have gone through this latest group of people who are studying Emma Hopkins. So I've named my good, and that's been wonderful. I feel really good about that. All the other stuff seems to be taking care of itself. And yet, as much as I love Emma Curtis Hopkins, and when I study her, I would love to be that absolutist. I would love to know that at every moment of my life, I know that all there is God, and that there is nothing else. But of course, I'm on this human journey. Can't remember what my shirt says, you know? That's just the way it is. And I'm having fun on this journey. I love being the assistant minister here in Spirit Works. And I've met such good people on this journey that I call life. But I started thinking about that as I was talking about these qualities of God that I'm going to name as my good. And I still do it: love, peace, and joy. And I feel pretty good about it. I feel my life is heading that way. Like I said, there was just something not quite right about it for me. And so what I did about 6 months ago, I took each of these 3 words and I wrote the things that I named my good using her words, with little things that would make it even better. And I just put 3 things for each, and I said, okay, how would love show up in my life even more? Because we know that God is infinite, so any of these qualities that we talk about that are God are infinite qualities. They're a continuous journey. So I need the 3 things that I would like to add to my life that would express a little more love. I took peace and I did the same thing. And I put joy as the same thing. Now, when she talks about being an absolute, maybe she doesn't mean those things. I don't know. I've never talked to her. But she had a lived life. She was a strong woman. She was part of the Christian Science movement. She was on the Christian Science Monitor's paper. She got married. She had a child, so she lived life. But I found for me that getting very clear about what I'm naming as my good has opened up a whole new area for me. And I think a lot of it is about being realistic about what we want. And to know that each of us is individual, and that what she is telling us is that we were created as individuals. And we are created here, not doing the will of God out there. We are taught in this teaching that we are created beings making choices about our lives. We are the ones that get to make that choice about what good do we want in our life. And each one of us is unique. Each one of us is an individualized creation of the Spirit. And so as we're being moved, as we're being pushed, as we're being pulled toward naming our good, whatever that may be, and sometimes it's at one level, sometimes it's at another level, but being honest with ourselves. Name your good. Don't let any words come up like, I'm not worthy of this. I don't know. Do I really want this? Can I really have this? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Name your good. You know, you don't have to say, well, I have enough of it now. My life's going pretty good. No, name your good. Because that's what's moving us toward our Creator. Our Creator is pulling, pushing, and moving toward itself. But we get to make the choices. Here's another quote from her. All truth is waiting for us to say plainly what is our good. There is no spot or place where the idea of good as ours cannot come. It will come and settle upon us. It will express itself through us. It will be absorbed by the cells of our systems. Emma Curtis Hopkins suggests that every Monday, that she has specific spiritual practices each day of the week, morning and evening. But she suggests every Monday morning to list the good that we want, that we desire, that we know is the truth. Use our imagination, for she also tells us imagination comes first, then the belief, then the words. And so isn't that what we teach here? That we demonstrate what we believe in. So she says this, I am seeking my good, and my good is my God, because it draws, pushes, and moves me on. The good that I am seeking is my God is my life. The good I am seeking is my abundant health and well-being. God is my health and well-being. The good I am seeking is my strength in all things. God is my strength. The good I am seeking is my support and supply. God is my support. God is my supply. God is the infinite resources that allow me to express the God that I am. The good I am seeking is my satisfaction and joy. God is my joy in all situations. Life is God. Truth is God. Love is God. Substance is God. It's all God. So, take some time. You don't have to call it resolutions or what you want in 2018, because you want it now, today, even before this year ends. Name your good. And so it is. Thank you. Okay, we have our prosperity acceptance now. So our ushers come forward. So this is the time of giving. And we read our affirmation, which is up here. Good. Let me back up so I can triple myself. Okay. God is the source of all supply. Money is God in action. What we give, we receive multiplied abundantly. All that God is, I am.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.
Tu es l'image de Dieu.
I hold you in my heart.
Tu es l'image de l'amour.
You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God.